Hello, everyone. I'm John McDonald. I am starting this video series sort of for posterity, sort of to act as an audio journal and hopefully to be the basis of one of the documentaries about me someday. Um, for those of you that don't know, welcome. Hello. This is a weird place to start our friendship, but hello. I am a queer playwright. I am currently living in Chicago, attending grad school. And in grad school, I'm going to an SAIC. In the second year, you do a thesis project. And I am not one to do things by halves, sometimes, oftentimes, most times, to my detriment. Um, and so my thought for my first kind of bigger project as an artist, because I've done some small things. Um, I've done some things to push myself out there, both in Fertile Ground and Rhino Fest. But as much as I'm living the dream, it's not the full version of the dream quite yet. And there's no reward without risk. I know being in theater is already a risk, but um, anyone that knows me knows my dream is to kind of be the new Stephen Sondheim, new. Um, I've revised that in the past couple of years. I've gone more toward probably Howard Ashman, to be perfectly honest. But the dream kind of remains the same. And so for my thesis project, my goal is not to completely stage a full 2 or 3 act musical, whatever ends up happening. But the goal is to get all the parts associated with it. One of the things that is kind of part of my calling in theater is how do we build this community out? How do we keep theater sustaining itself? How do we bring new voices in? How do we get people competent in both their roles and the things they want to try? How do we get people paid? How do we make it a sustainable practice to do? And I know that most people are going to go, "What? You can't do that with community theater. It has to be volunteer driven. It has to be this and that." But people should be paid for what they can do. And I am of the belief that even if it's just $50, I would like to be able to give people something for the amount of time that they spend working on a project with me. Um, I feel really strongly about this thesis, one, without knowing exactly what the thesis proposal is supposed to be like. There was a QR code, but the QR code kind of broke. So I have no idea what my actual thesis is supposed to be. A couple people told me when I asked, you can do anything you want. And I'm like, that's great. Please give me an actual fact sheet so I know, you know, all the rules I have to follow before I start like moving in my own direction. Um, which is a whole conversation that I'll be having. The idea here is that every week I'm going to sit down and talk about where I am in the process, what I've discovered, what things I've left to discover. I'm also going to be talking about the project itself. And so the project, and you'll see in the background behind me, um, it's Cobblestone Kingdom. This is the queer fairy tale, my take on Cinderella, with new original songs, a couple of new original characters, and definitely made to be openly queer. Um, for me, that is about a male casting for the Cinderella character and the Prince character. But I'm trying to write it where they could both potentially be played by lesbians, made into a sapphic love story. I strongly believe in trying to create places for non-binary actors to work as non-binary characters and such. So I'm doing all this stuff to try to make sure voices can be heard in the work. It's a lot harder than you think, by the way. I'm going to do an episode once just on pronoun use because this is not the first time where I've come across how do I create more spaces for more people, especially where pronouns are so heavy in language. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for staying tuned if you're already kind of going, my God, he's rambling. Um, so in this introduction, I really want to be clear in that I don't know what's going to happen over the next year to 2 years. Cobblestone Kingdom, a queer fairy tale, is a show that I've been working on unofficially since 2014 and probably before. When I say I'm clearing Cinderella, as we talk in the future weeks about plot, about characters, about adaptation, it's not really as simple as just saying, I'm going to make a new Cinderella story. Doing anything in the theater has some preconceived notions based on how close the audience is, how intimate you want it to feel. Also, adapting anything that has been adapted by so many people comes with risk. Um, but I think that this story is something to say. I've discovered a few things about it as I've continued working in my grad program, things that I don't think I would have found on my own. I know that some people like to take pot shots at grad students and saying, we've made terrible life choices. Why don't we just go get the actual job? Blah, 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 blah. Family Guy did a whole bit on it because uh, the Seth MacFarlane guy thinks he's just so incredibly, aggressively like out there truth telling. And it's like, hey, dude, come on. Um, I really think there's something new to say in this. I think even the fact that we are still shocked by the idea of a queer Cinderella, um, and even people would say, well, isn't Cinderella already queer? It's going to be a very interesting journey. Over the next year, and if this continues on past this, which it's supposed to, the idea is eventually get a stage. So the idea here is that I'm going to spend the year talking with fellow MFA students that might be wanting to do theater costuming, people that want to do set design, lighting plots, all the stuff that you need to make theater work. So there might be table reads. There should be table reads. There's going to be the struggle with me figuring out how to write music if that needs to happen. A part of this journey is finding out if there is a composer I can work with. Good. Ideally, the ideal situation for me would be to do a Rodgers and Hammerstein or a Rodgers and Hart thing, where I write the lyrics and then I work with someone to get the music written. Because I've never written music. I have stuff in my head, but I don't know how well it translates. But we'll find out if that's something that's possible. Chicago has really opened up my art practice. The energy here, the people willing to try, people open to new Indian fringe works has been really gratifying. I feel nervous but good. And you might be saying to yourself, well, you have about a month before school starts. Why are you starting this diary series now? Well, the answer is because even though school ended in mid-May, I have not stopped working. I took some time to do Rhino Fest, but after Rhino Fest ended, I went right back to work and I basically rewritten all of Act One and up to parts of Act Two, and I'll be talking about some of that rewriting process. This is the fifth version of the script. For those of you that supported the Kickstarter 2 years ago now for Cobblestone Kingdom, we are a version and a half beyond that because I've learned so much about myself and my journey. So in a way, I'm kind of grateful that the Kickstarter failed. Obviously, the ideal would be to have Kickstarters succeed, but there's so much to learn, and I'm excited to see where it goes. And I hope you'll stay on this journey with me. And I hope for who's ever editing this into my documentary later in life, please be kind. I know the lighting is rather ghoulish and garish. I only have the one overhead light because I just don't have the space on my desk to do like a ring light and do all the really cool, sexy, romantic lighting. If you could do like a glamour shots filter, the kids won't know. But if you could do like a glamour shots filter, give me like a 90s, like good old glamour shots Vaseline spread on it, I would appreciate you tremendously. Um, it's an exciting time to make my art. I'm so excited to spend this next year working on this thesis project. A reason why I'm doing it now is, in a way, a thesis project not only gives me structure, but it gives me a little bit of bounce. So if I fall down hard and I end up at a dead end, it's not a completely dead end. I don't have to restart from scratch. And that might be part of what this video diary accomplishes, is this record of successes, this record of failure, this record of discovery. is a way that we can do this together. And I'm sharing this with you because for people that love theater, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that maybe you want to know about. Maybe you want to know about the story. Maybe you want to know more about me or hang out, which I am honored to do. I don't know if I'll be doing like interviews or anything, but I'm more than happy to be doing that if the opportunity presents itself. Yeah, so basically stick around and you'll be hearing more about Cobblestone Kingdom, a queer fairy tale by yours truly, John McDonald. We'll see you next week.